What's some popular self-care, self-love advice that is actually really toxic? Live your truth. There is a fine line between authenticity and being an asshole. Ignore the haters. Sometimes the haters are people who love you and want to warn you of potential pitfalls, such as MLMs, cults, abusive relationships, etc. Show them what they're missing. No. Just do better for yourself. Stop texting people first to see who your friends are. What if they're doing the same thing and you just ended a friendship due to a misunderstanding? Edit. Okay, this blew up more than I thought. There's a lot of people saying, well, what about in this scenario? What about this? What about this? And thing is, in some scenarios this is good advice. But in a lot of cases this is terrible advice. Like, yes, if you're the only one doing work in the friendship, then maybe you should re-evaluate it. But it also could be someone is going through something that you don't know about and they really don't want to talk to anyone at that time. So what I was really trying to say is that this isn't a solution for everyone. It's really just a solution for some. Cut off anyone that doesn't bring you peace. Obviously, this applies to people who are constantly, deliberately making you miserable. But a stressful situation or argument with a friend that you care about doesn't count if you haven't attempted to work it out with them. Once you fall out of love with someone, you cannot fall back in love with them. Worst advice I ever got. I'm so glad I gave it a second try. What's a song that has brought you to tears? Samson by Regina Spektor. One day I was driving and Simple Man came on and IDK, for some reason it just struck me extra hard that day. Over the Rainbow. What a Wonderful World by Israel Kamakawiwole. First time I heard it on radio, I loved it. But when I downloaded and listened to it again, I wound up sitting and crying for almost an hour with the song on repeat. I've never had that experience with any song in my life. It's the song I've asked to have played at my funeral when my time comes. She Used to Be Mine * by Sarah Bareilles. A few weeks ago I had a dear friend sit me down and tell me that she remembers the old me. And if I wanted to leave my husband, she and my friends were there for me. This song hits a little too close to that nerve. Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers. My mom always said it made her think of her late mother. Now my mom's gone and I think of her. Deliver Us from the Prince of Egypt. That shit gets me every time, and I'm not a crier or get teary-eyed easily. Edit. Thanks for the love, guys. Y'all are amazing with your comments. This film reminds me of my childhood. That whole soundtrack by Hans Zimmer and even the cast. It's gold. Gives me all the feels. Out of all the mythologies that have ever existed, what is your favorite god and why? The original Stitch and Bitch Circle. The Three Sisters of Fate. They gossip about everyone while they weave. Just a couple of ladies having a grand old time talking shit about all the hilarious, embarrassing things they see humans do. The Sensen to Tokton. Technically not one god but 400. 400 drunk rabbit gods. Chiron. Rejected at birth but went on to become a polymath and most honorable, civilized of all the centaurs. Taught mathematics, archery, medicine, music, astronomy, etc. And trained heroes like Hercules. A lesser-known Greek god Momos. Just for the fact that he existed and was worshipped. He is the god of stupidity, laziness and nitpicking. He didn't have any shrines or places dedicated to him. Bekkasu, that would take effort, and thus be an affront to him. Gork and Mork, because I like the Daka. Little known Slavic Perun, god of thunder. Mostly because one of the rare preserved stories in Slavic mythology is his fight with Velez, god of the underworld, who stole his sheep. But the sheep were actually fluffy clouds that bring the rain. and Perrin was their shepherd. With thunder and lightning he was supposed to announce the rain smile. Another version of the story also mentions Veles stealing Doda, Perrin's wife, goddess of rain, and their flock of clouds. People who have been in a coma. What was it like? Do you dream? Does it feel like you've been asleep for a long time? My dad has described his 2-month coma after his car accident. He said he could hear bits and pieces of what was happening around him. But it was like a dream that he couldn't wake up from. When my 2 siblings and I would come in and talk to him, his heart rate would go down. When his friends had come to sit with him and watch a football game, the nurses made them turn it off because his team started losing and his heart rate blew up. A good friend of mine was in an accident this past summer and ended up in a coma for about 2 weeks. He said the only thing he really remembers is dreaming he was walking around in the dark. After walking for a few minutes, he saw his eyelids as if he were inside his own head. As he approached them, they opened, and that's when he woke up. I was in a coma when I was a kid. Apparently I was in it for a while. Like 6 months. When I woke up I found out they made a TV show about it and the experiences I went through. Check it out. https://wiki/the_odyssey_TV_series. I was in a coma for 6 weeks with double pneumonia, sepsis and kidney failure. I have very few vivid memories from being under but had some very strange visions once I woke due to the amount of drugs I was pumped full of. I had no concept of time and thought I had only been out for a day or so. I was in a training exercise for a halo jump. My oxygen cable got disconnected and I was struggling to breathe. Ended up blacking out 4 times until my reserve chute deployed and twisted itself. I came down extremely fast and shattered many bones including my ribs, collarbone and parts of my jawline. I was out for 4 years and I felt nothing but waking up. Now it's vivid flashbacks. I was in a diabetic coma and don't remember any of it and most of the bit before. I just remember waking up feeling amazing. Morphine. And 0 pain. Which was lovely. What's something cool now that used to be considered uncool? A lot of 80s jumpers that never sold at the time. Coming out of storage. I've seen some dreadful ones in Urban Outfitters that I'm convinced have been in deep storage since 1989. Liking things that were considered nerdy in the 90s. Especially games and anime. A few years ago, I had a 30-ish coworker tell me he was a total nerd for liking Marvel superheroes. I'm sure that was dorky when he was growing up, but it's pretty mainstream now. Not exactly something major, but having freckles. I remember getting teased about them when I was younger and now people give themselves fake freckles. It's interesting how society changes, I guess. Using both straps when wearing a backpack. Liking comic books apparently. What are some of the dumbest deaths in history? The Toronto lawyer that died testing a piece of unbreakable glass in a skyscraper. He ran into it and nothing happened. Then for some damn reason he did it again and the glass popped out. Dude fell 24 stories. https://en.wiki/wiki/death_of_Gary_Hoy. The Hold Your Wee for a Wee radio competition. A woman died from water intoxication after drinking 6 liters of water in the hopes of winning a Wii game console. Some guy and his friend in Arizona shot a cactus, and an arm of it fell, weighing 500 IBS, and crushed him, killing him almost instantly. I'm fairly certain he's an urban legend in Phoenix now. Recently read a story about a guy who fell off of a balcony because he didn't want to get caught cheating. President James Garfield was shot on July 2, 1881. He didn't die until September 19, 1881. And not from the gunshot wounds, but from the infections from all the doctors who tried to treat him in a variety of ways with no sterile equipment or hand-washing. They probed around, starved him, and other manner of tortuous treatments, until he finally died. https www.pbs.org/news/dirty-painful-death-president-James-Garfield. The Russian suicide bomber whose vest was prematurely triggered by a "Happy New Year" SMS from the phone company, whilst still in the safe house.
Subscribe, my brothers.